Welcome to the Reader Roundtable, where authors from all walks of life come together to discuss the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of publishing their books. I'm your host, Corey Graham. Join us here every Friday night at 8 p.m. or listen anytime via podcast at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, and PodServe, to name just a few. The Author Roundtable is sponsored by Reader House Online Bookstore, where the independent new authors come first.
There's a fantastical journey in the new book that just came out, written by Stephen L. Arnold. It's titled Delfi, an Epic Poem. And we're going to talk all about this here at the Reader House Author Roundtable. The author, Stephen, is here with me. Stephen, welcome to the show. I appreciate you being here tonight.
Thanks so much, Corey, and it's a pleasure for me to be here with you.
The pleasure's all mine, Stephen. Can you tell me all about Delfi, an epic poem? What do readers find here?
Well, Delphi is about a fairy kingdom in a mythical world, Corey. It's dominated by an evil overlord that I named the Blackguard. And Delphi, which is the last hope of survival for the enslaved human race, is also about hope and love. It's about a troll's hope and love for a fairy princess. And the troll in this story must transcend being an outcast in society to actually becoming the hero of the story when he embarks on a perilous journey that is meant to save the princess and is suddenly thrust into a position where he might just be able to save the world as they know it. So it was a mixture of things for me, of some of my greatest loves, the Tolkien books, The Hobbit, the trilogy, as well as epic poems that were created by the likes of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, such as The Song of Hiawatha. And since there are so few epic poems in existence, I really wanted to make this an exciting venture in poetry and have all of the poetry rhyme at the same time.
Stephen, what kinds of readers do you think would really be into this?
All ages, Corey. It has the draw of The Hobbit. It has the draw of the trilogy. I think that all ages, it's certainly suitable for all ages. But I did this also from an artistic standpoint. You know, there's so little now that is invested into the arts in high schools, even in colleges. And poetry is lagging behind. Poetry is a form of art and it's a form of music. So I'm hoping that even the younger people will be attracted to this story and enjoy the poetry and learn something from it.
You got to tell me, Stephen, where did the idea for this come from?
Well, I was always a fan of that story, The Song of Hiawatha. Now, that's an epic poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, and it doesn't rhyme. It's prose, and it's beautiful prose, but it's prose nonetheless. And then you have the children's take on poetry by Dr. Seuss. So my inspiration was to create a work that would tell an entire story from the beginning to the end so that the reader can understand all of the characters, the development of the characters, their tribulations, having to fight and win, and it brings hope to people. So as a physician, I've been a doctor for more than 30 years. I wanted to do something that actually touched people, brought out emotions that were positive and hopeful.
Stephen, are you new to this or have you written and published before?
I have written and published, Corey. I've been doing it ever since they handed me the English award in high school. At one time, I was hoping to be a journalist. Somehow things got mixed up and I became a doctor instead, very happily, and I never regretted it, but I always continue to write. I've written screenplays for motion pictures, TV. I've written books on poetry. I've written novels. I've written diet books and healthcare books and sports medicine books, and I just love to write.
Stephen, I'd be really surprised if you didn't have something else planned for the future, more writing, more publishing. Am I right?
You are correct. I have another book right on the heels of this, another epic poem, and I have a book on my poetry and my art photography. I have 2 novels. One is completed and hopefully will be going to the publisher soon. Another one I'm almost finished with. And I think it's time for me to resurrect some of my earlier healthcare books and do something with those. So you're right. There are more to come.
Well, I really think readers are going to love this. Again, the title is Delfi, an Epic Poem. It's written by Stephen L. Arnold, published by Christian Faith Publishing, so you can find it everywhere. Go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble or iTunes, and also down the street at your local bookshop, you'll be able to pick this up. Stephen, really appreciate you coming on the show and talking with me tonight. I had a really good time.
Thank you, as did I, Corey, and I hope we get a chance to do it sometime again.